Welcome back. We're going to watch some more Church of Blow. I've got my tea because every thumbnail so far has me drinking tea. That includes all my options too, so I can't even, it's also not intentional. Okay, so in the last video, my phone stopped recording while I was commenting on episode 8, and then, like an idiot, I proceeded to watch episode 9 and comment on that. So, just to go backward a little bit, well, anything I said about episode 8, I can repeat when I get to the Lauren episode. Episode 9, Over-Indulgence, that one Ishmael told me was based on the Queen's speech, the speech she gives every Christmas. So that's one that I didn't really connect to at the time, and even watching it now, I can sort of tell, I'm saying the words, but I'm just not connecting to the material. I could probably do that better now. But episode 10 is the nature of evil, so I will move swiftly on to that.
Hi, I'm Reverend Cornelius Blow. Welcome to my church. Just what is the nature of evil? I don't mean what is evil. We all know what evil is. Rape, murder, genocide, digital rights management, the illegal occupation of other people's countries. Like the Iraqis did when they invaded Kuwait.
Of course.
We all know how evil manifests itself, but where does it come from? Is evil something all human beings have within them? Does it come from us? Or is it an external force that somehow bends people to its own will? Is evil just a series of bad choices we make, or is it an entity that is separate from us, driven by its own aims? Is the devil out there, or is it in here? Well, I sure as heck couldn't tell you. As a preacher and philosopher, it's a subject that occupies a great deal of my thinking time, but as of yet I haven't reached any solid conclusions on the matter. But I do know what I need to know, and that's what I want to share with you today. Evil is bad. And we could sure do with a lot less of it in the world.
Preach it.
Here at the Church of Blow, we're not big fans of evil. It's the duty of every subscribed member of the Church of Blow to stamp out evil wherever they find it.
Right on.
And remember, evil starts in small ways. You gotta nip it in the bud. So imagine you're on a crowded bus and a pregnant woman or an old woman or just about any kind of woman more or less gets on that bus. Should you offer her your seat? Well, no. At least not straight away. Well, that's all well and good, but that don't root out no one else's evil now, does it? You should wait 30 seconds, maybe even a full minute, see if anyone else obliges that woman. And if they don't, it's down to you as a member of the church to point out that error. All you have to do is point your finger, look them directly in the face, and say one word: evil. That'll sure give them pause for thought, won't it? You could be setting them on a whole new course in their lives with just that one little gesture. It's really going to make them think about how they conduct themselves in public. Just point and... evil. Members of the Church of Blow should always be on the lookout for evil in all its forms. We should be smoking out evil in places other lesser religions wouldn't even think to look for it. Always remain vigilant. Someone shortchanges you at a kiosk, just point and evil. I reckon if everyone adopted this strategy, we could have this whole evil thing under control by the springtime, which would mean a nicer summer for all of us. All it takes is these simple little measures. Evil. I've been Reverend Cornelius Blow, and you've been very kind.
That's an interesting one because, You know, I always tried to do these in one take with no editing. And in that one, there's like one little stumble. And I can see I lose my confidence because like there's a lot of pauses, there's a lot of hesitations. And also, even at the very end, I ended so abruptly that it feels like I didn't think I was going to use that take. And then I just used it anyway, because I'm acting really strange in the second half. Like, it's like the Reverend himself is kind of phoning it in at that point. And that brings us to the next one, which is very interesting. Reverend Cornelius Blow in episode 11, Worms.
Hi, I'm Reverend Cornelius Blow, and nobody loves me. Everybody hates me. I guess I'll just go and eat worms. Long, thin, slimy ones, short, fat, juicy ones, itsy, bitsy, fuzzy, wuzzy worms. Down goes the first one. Down goes the second one. My, how they wriggle and squirm. Up goes the first one. Up goes the second one. Ooey gooey worms.
Now, Ishmael sent me a full script. It begins with that, and he said in the email, I'm not so sure about this one, so maybe just do the rhyme and leave it at that. And so I did, and I was probably too... Honestly, I don't know. I don't know how it would have been better. But I do have the original script in front of me. What was to follow that? And anyone who bought the published scripts that Ishmael released years ago, I don't know if it's still available, The Gospel According to Cornelius Blow, I believe this was included in that. But this I will be performing now for the first time, and you can judge for yourself how it works better. Okay, so begins with the rhyme, and it follows. I don't know if you're familiar with that song. I don't know who came up with the lyrics in the first place, but I can tell you that eating invertebrates ain't no way to deal with depression. It's one of the rules of the Church of Blow that we respect all of the Earth's creatures, even the real ugly ones. Do not eat worms. If you're feeling low, there's about 100 things you could do before go troubling some worm who never did nobody no harm. First thing, if you haven't subscribed to the channel, you should push that button. You won't find a more convenient way to personal salvation. Second, stop sitting around the house looking at the internet. That's the trouble with people these days. Too much sitting around till their eyes go square. Go out, get some fresh air while the light's still good and before the weather forgets us. There's probably a ball game somewhere you could be watching. You could be gouging one of those worms on a hook and doing some fishing with it. Respect the Earth's creatures by putting them to good use. And if that don't work, for crying out loud, seek medical help. I don't know, some counseling or whatever it is you people do these days. You wouldn't like it if a big 8-foot worm came and gobbled you up just because he was feeling lonesome, now would you? No, you wouldn't. Leave the worms alone. Or if you insist on eating the damn things, at least make sure they're dead before you put them in your mouth. That's disgusting. I've been Reverend Cornelius Blow, and you've been very kind. And there you have it. For the first time ever, Worms is complete, which means I can now continue to... Oh, this will be interesting. Okay, episode 12, Response to Renetto.
Every so often, a video appears on YouTube that makes the whole experience of visiting this site worthwhile. Sure, you have to sift through a lot of dirt before you find the slivers of gold, but if you keep on panhandling, you can stumble across something very special. A video that elevates your soul makes your spirit soar and your heart beat as fast as a hummingbird's wing inside your ribcage. A video that speaks to you and plain demands you post a response in celebration of the creator's creativity and integrity. Your video. Well, your video ain't that video. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying your video's bad. I'm sure you're trying real hard, and a lot of people seem to like what you're doing. I'm really not saying anything about your video at all. Matter of fact, I didn't even watch it. But I decided to post my completely unrelated
I don't think I watched the one I responded to.
Because it seemed to be getting some attention. I've noticed a lot of this kind of behavior around. Geeks probably have a word for it. Vlog, traffic, detouring or something. VTD. Because you can bet your life if there's a lot of something going on, the geeks will have a word for it. But by the time us normal folk have cottoned on, they'll be calling it something else. Tell you geeks, nobody likes a smartass. Vlog traffic detouring is an awful, desperate, trashy, attention-seeking thing to do. Mm-hmm. Those folks that do it should feel plain dirty about themselves. You're no better than those people who tag up their video with the name Paris Hilton in it, or the words live, sex, and show, when the video contains no elements like that. It only gets people riled up and disappointed. It's saying, look at me, look at me. It's grubby and embarrassing. Unless you're me. Geeks may call it vlog traffic detouring. I call it outreach work. I'm Reverend Cornelius Blow. Welcome to my church. A couple weeks ago now, I had me a vision. A voice instructed me to start a church right here on YouTube, which I duly did. Now, don't be put off. It's kind of a casual church. It's what the young folks might call hip or groovy, maybe even a little bit of far out, man. It's designed for YouTubers with very short attention spans. Everyone's welcome. All you have to do is subscribe. I like to think of the Church of Blow as the Chuck E. Cheese of religions. Wholesome but quick food for the soul. Near instant enlightenment and a plastic environment. Now, just the other night, I had me a second vision. A voice said to me, Cornelius, you have built a very fine church, but now you must advertise it. But, I said, didn't you tell me in the last vision that if I posted, they would come? Yes, Cornelius, I did. But I think maybe you misunderstood. I didn't say they'd all come at the same time in one big dollop. And it's your mission to save every soul on YouTube. So advertise. Every soul? But that's like 100 million people. And frankly, between you and me, I'm not sure a lot of them are worth saving. Have you seen some of this crap? But the voice said no more. So come, be one of the chosen 100 million. For a limited time only, new subscribers get to keep their old religion too. Follow me. I've been Reverend Cornelius Blow, and you've been a target demographic.
I couldn't remember if it actually had anything specific to do with Renetto, and I guess it really didn't. That could have been a response to anybody. Again, Renetto is like, I'm sorry to say, if he happens to see this, I don't. I've never. This applies to almost every YouTuber we responded to. I don't really. I don't get him. I don't get what he was. God, except I did recently. Sometimes I check in on the old YouTubers, and he's still making videos, and he did. It was the drunken peasants. They did I don't know. They were kind of trashing him, and so Renetto did a video where he was watching their commentary, and he not that I'm siding with the drunken peasants, but they. Renetto was chastising them for not knowing their YouTube history. Like, who the fuck? It's not even possible to know YouTube history. You had to kind of be there for some things, but then a lot of things get deleted. So it's based on very subjective memory. But who gives a shit? I mean, none of it actually matters anyway. But anyway, so Renetto. I'm not gonna say anything. He seemed like a very odd man. Okay, that's probably too much. But yeah, I enjoyed that. otherwise. Should I move on to the... Do I have time? Yeah, I'm going to move on to the next one, because the next one is actually quite... There's a lot I can say about the next one. I almost feel like I should give it its own video. But as long as my phone doesn't stop while I'm in the middle of doing this, I think I can continue. Fight fire with fire, soufflé with soufflé.
Hi, I'm Reverend Cornelius Blow. Welcome to my church.
Oh, here we go.
Now, for those of you who've been paying attention to my videos, like you should, will be aware that every Thursday I attend an evening cookery class. Or at least I did attend a cookery class, that no longer being the case on account of the teacher. Fellow by the name of Click, being, now how do I put this politely? Being somewhat of an ass.
Oh.
Now, I'm all for tolerance and compassion and yada yada yada, but this man don't show no tolerance or compassion himself, so I'm not so sure he deserves none in return. It's one of the rules of the Church of Blow that its followers don't take this kind of crap lying down, and as a reverend, I've got to set an example for my flock. Now, this fella, Click, Clueless Click, I calls him, seems to think he's the best star pastry chef in the whole state, maybe even of the whole the states. And that's just arrogance. I have no time for arrogance. And it's crystal clear he likes his own food, if you know what I mean. I'm not going to say too much about that because it ain't nice to mock a person's size. Big fat fella he is. Huge, mountainous blob of a man. Alright, he really ain't that big. I'm just exaggerating because I'm still riled. But he's the sort of man who wants to think more on his heart than on his cakes. And I mean that in every available sense. Oh, sure, the ladies on the course like him. Oh, Cornelius, he's so kind and patient and helpful. Well, not to me, he ain't. Oh, Cornelius, you're just jealous because you can't cook or communicate like he does. I can't cook? Well, no, maybe I can't. But what does that tell you? Been taking that course for near enough 3.5 months. Tells you he can't teach is what it tells you. No, Cornelius, he does not look like a stuffed pig. You're just mean. Well, yes, he does, actually. Piggy-faced, fraudulent blimp. I paid good money for that course, and I still can't boil water without burning it. Tells you everything you need to know about this so-called man. No, Cornelius, he's just a perfectionist. He doesn't understand why you keep messing up the basics when he shows them to you time and again. And you don't get your sense of humor. Sense of humor? I don't have no sense of humor. No, Cornelius, you're just upset by your own limitations in the cookery arena, and instead of confronting your own inadequacies, you're just projecting on the nearest thing you can find an authority figure in order to absolve yourself of your own anxieties about your failure and your shortcoming. It's a sublimated animal complex. On some unconscious level, Mr. Clink reminds you of your father, who you found overbearing as a child. Yeah. Whatever. Things came to a head this evening when Mr. High and Mighty accused me of putting salt instead of sugar in my soufflé. Now, I wouldn't make a mistake like that. And even if I did,
whose fault would it be?
I don't know why it didn't rise. Sometimes things don't rise. Ain't none of my doing. And oh, such a smug look on that big balloon's face. I just threw down my apron and I stormed out right then and there. I can get a hard time any old place. I don't have to pay for it. So this is just a warning to any Church of Blow members who happen to reside in the Alexander City area. You'll have seen his advertisements in the paper. Theo Click's Evening Cookery Class. They hold them at the Adult Learning Center. They're off 3rd on Andy Kaufman Street. You'll have seen his list of bogus European qualifications. All I'm advising is that you save your money and boycott the fella. Remember, those who can, do. Those who can't, teach. Take it from a reverend who knows. I've been Reverend Cornelius Blow, and you've been very kind.
It's interesting watching that one now because I think, for reasons I'll get into, I was a little too invested in that one because I think my performance in that is too cartoonish. It would have been much funnier because I don't really seem angry in that. It's cartoonish anger. If I had seen genuinely angry, like I was just kind of like, I'm just sidelining the entire church and being extraordinarily petty just to ruin this man, I think that would have been a lot funnier because I love the script. But anyway, so okay, this is the first example, one of the first examples of using this series as a form of petty revenge. When I moved back to my home city of Portland, Maine from Tacoma, Washington, I had a full-time job lined up, and it was a pastry chef who was starting his own business, and he needed a barista. So, and this was going to be a full-time job, and he was, I will say, an extraordinary chef. He studied in Europe, and his stuff was up to par, and it was great. Like I was there for a week. It was kind of like we were building up to the grand opening, and he seemed all right, but very high maintenance. I could tell he was the sort of person where he would just like say, "Okay, make me a sign." And he would say something in French that he wanted me to write, like the name of the thing. And he didn't like to repeat himself. So you sort of had to be 3 steps ahead of him. And I could tell there was, maybe this wasn't going to work out, which is fair enough. He kept me on until the grand opening, which was at the end of that week. And then he took me aside, very nicely, he took me aside and said, "Look, I don't think this is going to work out. So, what say you come back next Friday, and I'll pay you what I owe you, okay?" I said, yeah, sure, that sounds fine. Disappointing, especially because in that week, I had come very close to getting what would have been my dream job at that time, which was working in a now non-existent industry, but there was a video store in town. Videoport doesn't exist anymore. I came very close to getting hired there part-time, and that was a hard place to get into. They had a core group of people that rarely changed, and so I had a narrow window. And if I had just said yes, I am available, put me anytime, but I was being very delicate because I had just gotten this full-time gig. That was a huge mistake. So I did not get that job, and then I lost my full-time job. So Friday rolls around, and I realize I'm stuck in Otisfield. I had no way to get into the city, so I call the man saying, "I'm sorry, I can't make it in today." And he says to me, "Actually, I told you Monday." And he had this real menace in the way he said it, and it completely threw me off. Like I stammered and said, "Okay, oh shit." And I thought to myself, did he really say, how the fuck did I make that mistake? And I said, "But can I still collect the..." He goes, yeah, come in next week. And he gave me another day. So then I come in, next time I'm in town, I come in, I go into his place, goes, "Now I told you, I can only give you the money when I got someone else here, someone to watch the register, because I have to go back to count the money to get it, so I can't help you right now, because I'm here alone." I was like, "Seriously?" So yeah, come back on Friday. So I came in on Friday. He goes, "I told you Wednesday. Wednesday I said I was going to be here." And at this point I said, "Oh, fuck. I didn't know the word gaslighting, but that's what he was, that's what he successfully did the first time." And then I said, "Okay, now you're just fucking with me." And it was, for one thing, I'm piss broke. I actually really, really, really needed this week's worth of pay. And it was really, he was just doing everything he could to avoid paying me. Now, here's where my dad comes in, because my dad knows a thing or two about freelance. He's worked with quite a few invoices. So what my dad had me do was print out, first of all, make an invoice. One of them I hand delivered into the store. The other one I mailed to his store, registered mail. Also saying that if you do not pay me what you owe, I will go to the Department of Labor. And it worked. I actually he finally caved in, and man, he did not want to pay. It's so stupid, it's so short-sighted, because if he had just paid me what he owed, I would have been his customer for life. I would have kept going. His pastries were genuinely good. I would have kept going there. He would have made back more than what he owed me. But instead, I just made a video trashing him. Like, I just told Ishmael, okay, can you write a something about Cornelius trashing a guy, trash him for being fat, even though he's not really fat. I know that's really petty, but just, yeah, make it clear that he's not really fat, but he's trashing him for that reason. And yeah, so yeah, it felt really good. But man, I think the performance could have been better. But that's just me. I think that's it for this time. And yep, next time I'll be starting with episode 14, which is one of my favorites, and actually is well, that's kind of predicted my future in a way. Anyway, I'll see you then. Bye bye.